From dog tags to ownership, heroes take the lead. Stories of veterans building dreams with passion, drive, and speed. From service to success, we're here to inspire the quest. Dog tags to ownership, we're the best. Take the prize.
From the battlefield to the boardroom, this is Dog Tags to Ownership, the podcast where veterans share their journeys from serving our nation to leading in business. Hear inspiring stories of grit, growth, and the entrepreneurial spirit that drives those who've served to succeed. Tune in and take the first step toward your own mission in entrepreneurship.
Military One Percenters, welcome to Dog Tags to Ownership, where once a week we interview veterans who charted a path towards entrepreneurship. Here, our goals are to share resources, advice, and success stories about starting a business, discuss strategies for building financial independence and creating your own path, and most importantly, build a community to support each other through the challenges of transitioning from service life to civilian ownership. What if everything you learned in the military, the leadership, the discipline, the ability to execute under pressure, was never meant to end at transition? Too many veterans leave service thinking they're starting over. They're not. They're starting from experience. Over the last few episodes of Dog Tags to Ownership, we've heard from leaders who prove that ownership isn't one path. It's a mindset. Rick Franco showed us how to turn service into legacy through 4 Branches bourbon. Patrick Murphy reminded us that veteran voices don't need permission to be powerful. And Ash Stafford is building a global ecosystem where veteran-owned brands don't just exist, they scale. This episode isn't just a recap, it's a reminder. A reminder that community is a force multiplier, that leadership doesn't stop when the uniform comes off, and that the journey from dog tags to ownership is already underway. Let's get into episode 4 of Dog Tags to Ownership and the recap that lets you know leadership is what drives you to turn your dog tags into ownership. Today's theme for our recap is veteran leadership, ownership, and what's next for the community. So welcome back to the #1 podcast for veteran entrepreneurs who are turning their dog tags into ownership. Today, we're going to talk about the last 3 episodes that we had in 2026. So as many of you know, we kicked off season 2 of Dog Tags to Ownership, and we've had 3 amazing episodes that have come on for season 2. And that was episode 1, season 2 with Rick Franco of 4 Branches Bourbon. Episode 2, Patrick Murphy, former Army officer, Undersecretary of the Army, congressman from PA, and now who is helping many veterans turn their dog tags into ownership. And then episode 3 with Ash Stafford, a British military officer who is really building a community to help veteran businesses thrive in that ecosystem and just scaling that business. So I'll say, Matt, here we are, season 2, and we are just getting better by the day, by the episode. And we just have so many things I think to offer. I'll let you start on what your thoughts are on our first 3 episodes of the season and rounding out the month of January here for us.
So I do want to make one comment. I think Ash is enlisted. I don't think he's an officer in the British Army. He might take offense to us characterizing him as an officer. I mean, it shows with his just attitude about knocking down tasks and being very focused on things. But I'll circle back to your opening comments. Couple things that stood out to me: mindset, and veterans being better equipped when we transition out of the service to go into business ownership. We've heard those themes a few times, but really resonated with the last 3 guests. Ash isn't even out of the service yet, and he's doing incredible things. Obviously, with Rick and Patrick, they've been out some time, but we've heard from a few of our guests recently the importance of mindset and positive mindset. And I really like digging into, daily habits or rituals, I might refer to them as. I listen to the Daily Stoic in the morning. That's just something that kind of gets me focused for the day. Some people use prayer, but I think having those habits, if it's making your bed, if it's sitting down and having some reflection time in the morning, it's so incredibly important. And it's something that we're starting to see with a lot of the guests that we have on here. It's not by accident. Everything's with intention. Having that positive mindset up front early in the day to kind of set conditions for the rest of the day is so important, and something I'm really trying to do. It's not necessarily a New Year's resolution, but something I continue to try to practice and get better at. And the other kind of opening theme I'll throw out there in addition to the comments you made is these individuals we continue to see have this unique ability whether it was born in them or something that they acquired while they were in the military, but building teams and surrounding themselves with great partners. Now, I say that specifically of Rick and probably Patrick. Ash is like a one-man show that does absolutely incredible things, bootstrapped, grinding, learning IT, learning how to create websites, building shops, and creating an ecosystem. So it's almost building a team on steroids because he's got so much reach. Those are some of my opening thoughts. I know I jumped around a bit, but let's talk about Rick.
Matt, before we dive into episode 1 with Rick, you're right. Building that ecosystem, building that community, and that's something that we've always strived to do with Dog Tags to Ownership. And that's why we'll talk about it more at the end of this podcast. But we're launching 2 big things this year. And the first one being the Dog Tags Connect to really bring people together to talk about business ownership and to have that time where you can come together, no agenda, no slides, just talk. Ask the questions that you have, because leadership, it's a mindset, and it's a mindset that can help you build a business. And that's what we want to continue to do. Just extending, scaling that ecosystem to really help our veterans, community, military members get into entrepreneurship. And so with that, we can go into episode 1 with Rick Franco and 4 Branches Bourbon and their purpose and really what they've done, and that service, military service to entrepreneurship from all 4 branches of the service. But I think what's really cool, and this is what stuck out to me, and then I'll turn it over to you, Matt, but it's that they're building a purpose-driven brand that's in a crowded market. Bourbon is a crowded market. It's been a crowded market for a while, but they are building a purpose-driven brand for veterans to utilize, to drink, to sip to remember is their slogan. And that's, during those times when you come back from deployment, or when you're celebrating a promotion, or you're celebrating a retirement, or you're just celebrating something. That's what 4 Branches Bourbon is for. And it's that purpose-driven business brand that they're doing. And that really stood out to me in what they're trying to do for the veteran community.
Yeah, my 2 big takeaways for that episode with Rick. One, that he knew nothing about bourbon. He just knew that he wanted to do something impactful and meaningful to celebrate, to remember, to recognize those who have come before, perhaps paid the ultimate sacrifice. And that passion drove him to make phone calls, build the connections, build the network to get to where he is today. And the second thing that really stood out, they didn't just create a distillery from scratch. That would not have been advantageous from a cost or business perspective. So they're leveraging an existing distillery, Bardstown, in Bardstown, Kentucky, and that was able to keep costs down. It's an incredible bourbon already. So to be able to leverage that, because he even noted, had they gone out on their own, they likely, or could have likely been out of business at this point. So just some savvy business techniques that has really allowed their brand and their bourbon to flourish at this point. Rick, an incredible guy. We talked about in the episode. It was a bit serendipitous that you had reached out to their PR person early on, and we got a little bit of a hand wave. They're extremely busy, and they are. Rick's got a day job on top of being a partner in this distillery, and persistence matters. And we were persistent, and we happened to get a hold of a friend, and that compelled Rick to come on and sit down with us. And it was a great way to kick things off for this season.
I think just the last takeaway for Rick Franco and 4 Branches Bourbon, and something that they are driving to do, and Rick talks about it in the episode. So if you haven't listened to it, please go back and listen to it. But ownership isn't just about profit. It's about legacy, alignment, and impact. And that's really what 4 Branches Bourbon is doing. Is, yeah, they're going to make profit, but on top of that, they're also giving to veteran-owned companies. They're giving to veteran-owned nonprofits to help support service members, veterans, and you couldn't ask for a better brand than that. So as a bourbon drinker, I definitely buy 4 Branches Bourbon for all of those big occasions to give out to people, because I think it is a great message that they're sending to remember and continue that legacy. So with that, I guess we'll go into episode 2. of season 2, the Honorable Patrick Murphy. Patrick is amplifying veteran voices everywhere he goes. He is probably one of the busiest people I have seen. If you follow his social media, he is in a different city, I think, every day, it feels like, in what he's doing. But he's doing that because he believes the veteran voices matter, and veteran voices matter in business ownership. They matter in leadership. They matter in policy. And that's what he is trying to accomplish and get out to the world, that veterans are important. We have the mindset, and to really change that narrative around veterans. And from what people see on TV sometimes, the negativity that's surrounded veterans with our mental health crisis, wounded warriors, those types of things. Even every veteran that has something going on still has a purpose, still has that leadership, and can drive the narrative and really help the American community. So, just again, he is doing that. He's veterans are problem solvers. That's his key thing. And that's where veterans need to be, is solving complex problems for the United States to move this country forward.
Yeah, talk about a high energy episode. I shared that with friends and family. And if you think you're a hard worker, if you think you're disciplined, listen to that episode. Not that everything's a measurement or a comparison, but the amount of stuff that Patrick accomplishes in a given day is absolutely incredible. I go back to his daily habits as well and his mindset. Every day starts with, he used the acronym, I think it was WMI, what's most important. And that was really how he kind of focuses his day, because there can be distractions and there can be so many things going on that he gets pushed and pulled in different directions. He's doing so much for veterans from an equity standpoint, investing in veteran-owned businesses, that his attention is constantly grabbed. He did the podcast, I think, from a Borders bookstore, because he was out and moving around that particular day. But what's most important, and he only has 3 things, he says, to focus his day and start his day, and then continues to drive change and drive impact from there. Hard to summarize. We packed so much content into that episode, but he was such an easy interview, because you just kind of get him going on a topic, and he's got so much knowledge and experience from the different positions he's held as a politician, as a member of the Secretary of the Army, and now as a multi-business owner, entrepreneur. So just vast experience, and just an incredibly positive, upbeat guy, and pleasure to have him on.
Yeah, and what he's doing ties so well with our Dog Tags the Ownership mission, and how we're building the community, and how Dog Tags the Ownership is a platform to amplify the veteran voices, the military voices, and for people to know, like, hey, we bring a lot to the table. And really going back to what I said at the beginning, changing that narrative. He talked about a lot of the folks who are running for public sector offices, right, in states, and that's just helping amplify those veteran voices. And that's what we strive to do here at Dog Tags the Ownership, as well as just amplify veteran voices and how we are good for business, how we are good for the economy, how we can make real change in America, to keep America going. And that's what Patrick is doing on a daily basis. So I just applaud him for his efforts, and hope that we can continue to be a amplifying voice. And also, one of the big things that he talks about is your network is your net worth. And that is so important for veterans. So many of us out there that are getting into entrepreneurship, business ownership, and just creating that network to help each other. And if you don't know where to go or what to do, reach out to someone, reach out to us. We'll put you in contact with other folks to help you amplify your voice, get what you want, and start that business. So again, just super excited that we were able to talk to him and have him on, because he is such an impactful voice for the veteran community and the veteran business ownership communities.
I think that's such a good segue. Your network is your net worth. And we've built that international network now with Ash over in the UK, who has Forces Brands UK, a website dedicated to veteran-owned businesses. And you talk about amplifying the voice of veterans and supporting veterans. I don't know that anyone has done more at this point in the UK than Ash to amplify veteran-owned businesses. So
yeah, and like you said, great segue. Your network is your net worth, and we have built a network over the past year with Dog Tags the Ownership, And episode 3, season 2 is with Ash Stafford, the founder of Forces Brands. Forces Brands exists to support veteran-owned businesses beyond the uniform. Like, that is why he created it. Our vision, our mission, our purpose are very much aligned, the three of us, with Dog Tags Ownership and with Forces Brands. And sitting down and speaking with him and hearing the impact that he has had for the UK and veteran-owned businesses. If you haven't listened to episode 3 with Ash Stafford and what Forces Brands is, please do, and really help build and grow that community. So we're really pumped about that and those shared values that Dog Tags to Ownership and Forces Brands have, and how we're going to be able to really expand that partnership over the next year. Those are the 3 episodes that we had in the month of January. I would just encourage all of our listeners and followers out there to go back, listen to them if you haven't, share them with your community, with your network, because there's some great advice, great nuggets. If there's one thing today's conversation makes clear, it's this: no one builds ownership alone. Rick Franco showed us what purpose-driven leadership looks like in action. Patrick Murphy challenged us to speak up, show up, and amplify veteran voices. And Ash Stafford reminded us that when veterans build platforms for each other, the impact goes far beyond one brand or one country. That's why this community matters. And it's why what's coming next is so important. Be sure to join us on Tuesday, 29 January at 8 p.m. Eastern for Dog Tags Connect, a live conversation built for veterans who are ready to take the next step. Ask better questions and connect with others on the same path. This isn't just a podcast. It's an ecosystem. It's a movement. From Dog Tags to Ownership, it's just the beginning. Today, for our bonus content, we are joined by Brian Thompson, a tax attorney and certified financial planner specializing in providing comprehensive financial and business planning to the LGBTQ plus entrepreneurs who run mission-driven businesses. His accolades include the Inspiring Leader Award by the National Association of Personnel Financial Advisors, and he serves as a senior contributor to Forbes and the NAPFA Advisor Magazine's Efficient Planner column, and he is also the host of the Mission Driven Business Podcast. Brian, welcome to Dog Tags to Ownership, and we really appreciate you coming on today to talk to us a little bit about financial planning for entrepreneurs, and then also any tax attorney type things that you might have perspective as we are gearing up into tax season for everyone. So thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you for the wonderful introduction, Julie. Super happy to be here with you and Matt, and love your energy, love what you all do and talk about. So I'm excited to see where this goes.
I'll get started. Could you just tell our listeners and followers a little bit about yourself and your background?
As you mentioned, I'm the owner of Brian Thompson Financial, and we help mission-driven business entrepreneurs who want to have an impact and profit. I come from the mindset that you can have purpose, have impact, change the world, and also make money, have a good living. Both of those things can be true at the same time. I started off as a tax attorney for a while. I did that for about 10 years. Really loved the work, the complexity of the tax law, and it always changing, and helping people navigate this puzzle piece of rules and exceptions to exceptions. But at some point, about 9-10 years in, I got sort of disillusioned with everyone coming to me in trouble. Like, it's always stressful. Every time it was stressful. And at that point, marriage equality was coming to pass. And I knew that my community was about to get a lot more rights than we've ever had. And so I wanted to help people with that, and realized at that point I could start my own business. And it just happened to coincide with the partners at my firm splitting, and one asking me to come with him. And I was like, he said, you can be a partner in 7 years. 7 years? I've already been working for you for 9 years. Why would I wait any longer? So that gave me the push that I needed to start my own thing. And took the leap in 2016 and not looked back since. I love it.
And when do you typically come in as a tax attorney? I can understand reaching out to a CPA or a tax specialist. Is it when you have maybe, like you said, done something you shouldn't have, or perhaps missed something?
It's usually when the IRS comes knocking at your door.
Okay.
Right? That's when you're looking for help. You're looking for somebody to help you through it. And whether it was business owners who are dealing with 941 payroll issues, or, a lot of business owners get into trouble with not paying their taxes, because especially starting out, if you don't really realize that your tax rate is going to go up significantly as a business owner and you're not prepared for that, you run into some tax debt. So yes, usually people reach out when they're in trouble. They already have the IRS knocking at the door. Sometimes when a revenue agent is already at their house. So you can see how that would also be pretty stressful.
So it's a good thing that I don't know exactly what you do or when I would call you.
Yes. Yep. It's a
Pass
good
the
thing that you
litmus
don't need
test.
me.
Perfect.
Yeah. We always make the joke that, everybody hates lawyers until you need one. And I feel like that's usually the case.
Yeah, we had a similar slogan with the military police. Julie and I were both military police officers, so it's
Yep.
similar with law enforcement, right? You don't really
Yep.
enjoy the police until you need one. So
Yep.
similar concept.
I think you're gonna have to take Dana out for dinner tonight since you haven't needed a tax attorney and she does your taxes. So
True,
maybe
good point.
maybe we could do something special for her. But
Exactly.
Brian, so you made that leap, you said, in 2016 to start your own thing, your financial planning business, right around the same time as Oberfeld, with the Supreme Court ruling for
Hmm.
LGBTQ plus couples to be able to get married and have more rights. You said your passion for that really was that to serve our community and help
Yeah.
folks in the LGBTQ plus community with their financial planning and I'm assuming also with entrepreneurship. So can you just talk about that passion and where that passion comes from and how you got into that?
Yeah, it's interesting. I always feel like most people have something that they feel like they've been put on the earth to do, something that they are really passionate about. And what I try to help my clients with is sort of lean into that passion, right? You have something that you're interested in, you have something that you want to do, you have some impact that you want to have. So lean into it, don't fight it. And I knew that I've had this knack just all my life around putting pieces together and financial planning and organization and all of those things. And so that's what I leaned into. I knew that I had a passion for that type of work, but also had a passion for helping my community. I'm a person that wants to be out and proud and wants to know that me being out and proud helps other people. It helps people who are still in my community and feel like they may not have the courage or the ability to be out and proud. I want to lead by example. And so that culmination of everything just really inspired me to say, do something. What can I do? What can I do in my little realm of the world with my knowledge base? And I'm a pretty good writer. Like you mentioned, I write for Forbes or wrote for Forbes. I just knew I could put both of those passions into place and really help people navigate this new territory. To me, was the civil rights movement of our time, or of my time. I'm in my mid 40s, late 40s now.
We're with you.
Yeah. And so that moment I felt like was our civil rights of the moment. So it was fun to be a part of that and see it unfolding and see what I could do to help the movement.
And so as you got into the financial planning and you've been doing that, can you just talk a little bit about how you can help? Our podcast is for military members, veterans who want to turn their dog tags into ownership after the service and get into entrepreneurship, business ownership. So if one of our viewers or our listeners wanted to come to you, what are some things that you would offer? How would you be able to help them with that financial planning to get after that, turning their dog tags into ownership?
Yeah. I love that tagline and that you can just slip it in there whenever you want, right? It's a great marketing. Good job. I feel like the road to freedom and flexibility and financial freedom is business ownership. One of the big things also that I'm very passionate about is closing the racial wealth gap. And I know that the racial wealth gap between people of color and non-people of color, between business owners, is 3-1 versus 11-1. And this ability to sort of create wealth, create time, create community, create impact. I knew after a while, I started out serving LGBTQ couples and realized that I was being pulled in too many directions because people were doing different things and people kept coming to me because of my experience with tax and business ownership. So I just sort of, instead of fighting that and saying, oh, I don't really want to do this, and I love it. I love the complexity of it. And I love being able to help people prepare and be proactive rather than reactive. And so what we do is we help people from a foundational standpoint and making sure that you understand the mission, vision, and values of the business, making sure that you know where you're going, what direction you're going to build into, and also knowing where you are and what resources you have now with the technical things like bookkeeping and taxes and cash flow. I like to call it the art and the science of planning. You're doing a little bit of both, right? People think mission, vision, and values is sort of mushy, but that is the real foundation of a business. Knowing who you serve, why you serve them, and being able to explain that to people as you are selling to them is so important in business. You could have the best service in the world, but if people don't know about it, it's useless. So we help them on both fronts, making sure you have the vision, mission, values, but also from a technical standpoint, knowing that you're taking care of your taxes and your books and making sure everything is
Could you just touch on and how you help folks with the financial aspect of it as well?
they know the impact that they want to have, but they don't know necessarily how to set it up correctly. So specifically, we talk about, all right, so you're going to be getting money. What does your cash flow look like? How do we make sure that you're a profitable business? How do we make sure that you're paying your taxes so you don't have the IRS knocking at your door? How do we know that you're paying yourself a reasonable wage? You're not throwing everything back into the business and burning yourself out. And also knowing how to manage your expenses, being able to have different aspects and different buckets for your cash flow rather than having everything in this big bucket and not really knowing where your money's going. And then tax, the tax code is so complicated. It's literally 1,000 pages. And so I know that lots of people get overwhelmed and lots of people are scared of the IRS. I've had people say, oh, I don't want to go to jail. It's like, oh, IRS doesn't really do that anymore unless you're doing something really, really bad. But this concept of the unknown and the complexity, I think, is where we help ease people's minds of knowing we got this. I've been doing this for 20 years. I know the ins and outs of the tax code. Obviously, it just changed a bunch. So the things I don't know, I know how to find. And it's really being that thought partner with them, giving them the foundational things that we talked about, but also being there to help them navigate the times and things that they don't understand or they don't know, and walk them through and be that supportive person to say, all right, we'll figure it out, whatever we need to do. But entrepreneurship is scary, it's exciting, it's anxiety producing, it's frustrating, it's invigorating, it's all the things, all the emotions all at once. And I feel very, very blessed and fortunate to be that person that helps people to grow an impactful and profitable business.
I think, Brian, too, what stands out to me with you is your approach to it. It's more of a holistic approach than if I just went to someone who's an entrepreneur for guidance, and then I went to a financial planner for guidance, and then a tax specialist, right? I've got like a CPA and two other folks that I have to talk to on a team, and you bring that background and specialty, which is very unique because we've had financial planners on this podcast and we've certainly talked to plenty of entrepreneurs. And like you said, a lot of times I'm good running a roofing company, but I'm not a good businessman, or I'm a great businessman and I'm not great at running a roofing company. And it's tough to find both of those. So I think what you do could really benefit a lot of our listeners out there.
Yeah. I appreciate you saying that. And I do feel like I do have a special niche. It's just this culmination of my interest, my ability, my background. I was a philosophy major in college. So to me, thinking about life from a bigger aspect of why are we here? What are we here for? What does it mean to be a human being? What does it mean to live? I'm dealing with those holistic questions and weaving those into a business, but also having this mind for organization and technical stuff. It's just how my mind works. Again, I feel fortunate to have this thing that I can build and make whatever I want. And this is what I tell my clients all the time. You get to build whatever you want. Nobody believes me at the beginning, but as we start to build and they start to realize, oh, I can actually do that. I don't need to work on Saturdays. I don't need to work at 10 o'clock at night, right? I get to build whatever I want. I feel very fortunate to have realized that and built this thing that I love and enjoy and can't imagine doing anything else with. And I want that for other people. I want people who know that they want to have impact and know that they want a life that's bigger than they could ever dream. I want that for them. And that's why I'm here. And hopefully I have a special place and can do this for a very long time.
Yeah. I think the other, my other observation when you were speaking earlier, I want to say this seemed to almost happen organically because there was a need or a demand for what you're doing now when you talk about that sort of niche. And it's so cool that you put all these areas of education and background and experience together to be able to fulfill this passion for you, but also really impact others. And that's what we're all about here, is being able to share that passion.
I do feel like we all have different passions and different talents, and I want people to fulfill that passion or talent in whatever way possible. And it's usually through serving in a way and making sure that you're building a business around the thing that you like to do and the thing that you do best.
I think that's so important. As I go to your podcast, you have a podcast as well, Mission Driven Business Podcast, in which Matt and I are going to be on it here in a little bit. But I feel like your podcast, looking at it, listening to a few of the episodes, is really to build a community for entrepreneurs to come and talk about their passion, their vision, their values, their strategies, their tactics, those things that drive them to continue being a business owner and make themselves better and make their business better and build those types of things. And that's what we do here at Dog Tags Ownership. It's to build a community for military members and veterans who want to pursue entrepreneurship after service. And then it's also the double meaning of just owning their life after service again. And I think that that's super important when we talk about what you're doing and the community that you have and what you've built and who you are providing services to. And then the same niche that we are doing that for, they kind of intersect a little bit in a way. And I feel like as entrepreneurs and as people who get into business ownership and have that passion, have that purpose, have that why, and the why of building those communities, it's super important for us to come together and how do we help each other and help each other's communities to be better and to really continue to build on what we have in those rights, as you talked about, for both the LGBTQ plus community, but then also the military veteran community and the LGBT plus community within the veteran community, because it's an even smaller population of folks. So how do we build those things together? I think we could definitely be a big impact for each other and help each other out. Before we close up here on this bonus content, what's one piece of advice you would give to someone who is looking to get into entrepreneurship, business ownership?
There's so many things that I would say, but I feel like the very first one is do it. Just get started. I think there are a lot of people who come to me who are afraid or paralyzed by analysis paralysis, right? There's so many things that you have to do and get in place and do. And I know that this is your story, right? You started your podcast because it was a car ride or something. Somebody talked about getting a mic, right? And I feel like that little inflection point of just starting, getting a mic and seeing what happens and recording your first episode and seeing what happens. I think this is how you build a successful business, is pushing yourself to just get something out there and then continue to build, measure, and learn. And you've already built this community. And I'm so happy that I get to do this as part of my job. I get to talk to people like you who are making an impact in a niche that I never thought existed or would be possible. And, I was talking to my PR people who connected us. It's like, is this a match? I don't know how this is going to work. And they're like, no, it's a good match. And you just got to listen to the podcast. I listen to the podcast episodes and it's like, oh, this is aligned, right? I love that you have a specific niche. I love that you're helping people in a way that you know how to help people. And you're right. I feel like we can all learn from each other. And that's the whole purpose of having a podcast, is being able to learn from each other and take everyone's experience, strength, and hope and be able to use it in a way that benefits more and more people. We have a ripple effect. So I want to spur people to lean into whatever that is and just do it and feel like you will learn along the way. I think that's the way you're going to benefit yourself and the people around you.
I couldn't say it better myself, because that is exactly what I think Matt and I have both done in our businesses, is just go for it. At the end of the day, if you don't, you're going to wait and there's never a perfect time. So just go for it and you'll figure a lot out along the way.
I think that is the best advice. Take action. We've talked about it in the start of this podcast. It's what we did. Took action in my real estate investing. It was, let's go buy the duplex and we'll figure out long distance property management. Yeah, and there'll be some lessons learned along the way. It's so good to have you on. Hopefully, folks can listen to your podcast, listen to our podcast, and just get outside their comfort zone and maybe inspire them to do something that they wouldn't typically have the courage to do, perhaps.
Yeah, and that's the great thing about podcasts. You can listen to all of the ones that interest you, that pique your interest, and different episodes will have different impact on you. So go out there and learn from us all. We're all here. And I do feel, as a part of a community, that we are in this together. Me, Matt, Julie are all in this together to help people really take control of their life. That's what I heard Julie say. That's such a great phrase. Take control of your life and be able to build the thing that you want, have the impact that you want, build the life that you want, and really leave this world a better place than it was when you came. So hopefully what we're doing and this episode and the episode on Mission Driven Business that you all are going to be on will help people make that change.
Well, thank you so much, Brian, for joining us for this bonus content today on episode 4 of season of season 2 of Dog Tags to Ownership. We really appreciate you just coming on and talking about your community, what you do, and then also just how our two communities kind of align together. And if you're out there and you are a member of the LGBTQ plus community, you're looking for someone to help you with that financial planning as you want to turn those dog tags into ownership, please reach out to Brian Thompson. Great human being, great person, and someone who can definitely help you find that mission, find that your purpose, and get after it in business ownership. So Brian, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Military One Percenters, whether you're brainstorming your first business idea, already running a company, or just curious about where to start, Dog Tags to Ownership is the place for you. Please hit that subscribe button to receive all new episodes. Also, if you know someone who has turned their dog tags into ownership, drop us a DM on social media or tag someone. We are always looking for new guests to bring onto the podcast. And as always, Military One Percenters, thank you for your service. Let's continue this journey and working together to write our next chapter. Until next week, keep pushing to turn those dog tags into ownership.
From dog tags to ownership, heroes take the lead. Stories of veterans building trains with passion, drive, and speed. From service to success, we're here to inspire the quest. Dog tags to ownership, we're the best.